What's up, guys? Chad here, Lost Road Reactions. Been a while since I've done a video, man. It's been, geez, over a year. So we're gonna go ahead and get into some new stuff here. Let's check out this 10 creepiest things in abandoned buildings video. Y'all ready, man? Let's go. Let's check it out. Ready? Let's go.
Abandoned buildings are mysterious places. Who knows what you'll find lurking around the corner or in the basement?
You never know.
Part of the curiosity surrounding abandoned places is the reason they were left in the first place. Although sometimes people who explore forgotten places end up finding something they wish they didn't. In today's video, we're talking about the 10 creepy.
It is creepy walking into abandoned buildings, man. If you're afraid of the dark or anything along those lines, it's creepy by yourself. I've gotten scared a couple times in places I've been.
Things discovered in abandoned buildings. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to The Supreme, and click the notification bell for more lit content. Let's get rolling.
Cool graphic.
Number 10. A shark.
I've seen videos of this one before.
You don't want to come across when exploring an abandoned building.
Would that be crazy?
Shark is one of them. A shark in a formaldehyde tank was found at Wildlife Wonderland in Victoria, Australia, which had been left abandoned since 2012. Urban explorer Luke McPherson visited the shuttered zoo and uploaded a 28-minute video of his adventure.
Man, that'd be cool to find a place like that, man.
February 2019. The video attracted 14 million views, and the story of the great white shark went viral. It seems that the zoo had been closed due to offenses against wildlife, and the owner didn't have the correct legal licenses to run the attraction. The great white shark, later nicknamed Rosie, was a dead shark captured in 1998 and put on display in the zoo. The abandoned zoo was unsafe, but largely because the dangerous formaldehyde liquid was leaking from the shark tank.
Considering it's still all in there.
Imagine how scared McPherson must have been when he stumbled across Rosie. It isn't often a human comes face to face with a predator of the ocean. I know she wasn't alive, but that kinda made it even creepier. Number 9. Tombstones. In October 2019, a 1930-era building was demolished in the Ukrainian village of Choritsa. As the building was torn down, contractors realized it had been built on hundreds of gravestones. The Soviets had seemingly tried to destroy all signs of the village's previous inhabitants and constructed a building on their graves. The discovery was made nearly 100 years later, and the tombs were traced back to a Mennonite community with ancestors in Manitoba, Canada. It seems Mennonite gravestones are elaborate, which helped in their identification. I wonder if anyone living in the building experienced anything paranormal. Constructing a building on top of a graveyard seems like a terrible idea. Number 8. A witch. Did a police officer stumble across the legendary Delray witch? An officer who identified himself as Ted Robertson was responding to a domestic disturbance call in the Delray area of Detroit in the United States. He said that as the situation had been resolved, he was heading back to the station when he heard strange sounds coming from a nearby abandoned home. A lot of homes are abandoned in Detroit, so Officer Robertson didn't find it too weird until he got closer to the source of the noise and couldn't decipher what was making it. He then captured this footage from one of the windows. It looks a lot like a ghost, right? In the yard of the property, he found an article about the Delray witch, a woman called Rose Verez, who was sent to prison for a number of murders.
There was one place where I went to where I thought I seen somebody in the window. I'm not sure. I've never been back there. I would like to check it out. Maybe if it was a mannequin or something in the window, I'm not sure.
This is a wild story.
I'd have to go back there and
find out. In February
of
2019, a man who was high on cannabis called police to report that he had seen a tiger in an abandoned house in Houston. At first, the police thought that he was hallucinating, but when they arrived to investigate the scene, they did indeed find an overweight tiger locked inside a cramped cage in the garage of an abandoned property. Packages of meat were found nearby in the room, but there were no other signs of a person living there. The tiger was rescued and taken to a local animal sanctuary.
Well, I'm sure they were, man. After hurricanes and
Old
stuff like that, big floods.
In the aftermath of the devastating Hurricane Katrina, a lot of buildings were abandoned because they were damaged by floodwater.
It's horrible going into buildings with a lot of mold.
After the disaster, a lot of moldy buildings are waiting for demolition. One building is the Charity Hospital in New Orleans.
Look at that.
Before the disaster, it had been used as one of the oldest hospitals in the state of Louisiana. Now it sits in spooky disrepair. Urban explorers photographed the inside of the hospital, even though
I've been down in that area, Louisiana, down there near New Orleans and stuff, and you can still smell it. I mean, it literally smells musty down there and stuff.
They're just so spooky anyway.
You can just smell it.
Then add in old vials of blood and urine.
Gross.
That's just too creepy. What would you be most scared of?
Everything?
An old bag of needles or the ghost of a former patient?
I'd be scared of a possible ghost. I don't know if ghosts exist, but just the thought of it.
There are a crazy number of unexploded bombs left after World War II, despite coming to an end nearly 75 years ago. The biggest war the world has ever seen is still causing chaos. In November of 2019, a World War II hand grenade was found by a worker inside a house in the populated district in Athens, Greece. There isn't an expiration date for explosives. They can be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous today, as they were decades ago.
Well, yeah, you never know.
Greece still had forgotten bombs lingering. Germany is the most affected by unexploded old bombs.
Well, yeah.
During the war, the Allied forces dropped 2.7 million tons of
explosives. I'm sure there were plenty of dubs to go along with all those.
But not all of them went off. Evacuations in cities are a
regular landmines over there. There's
country
certain countries landmines are just crazy.
Being rediscovered. Number 4, padlocked dungeon.
Look at that old padlock.
Just before Christmas, a newly built padlocked dungeon was found near an unassuming tree in Pickering, Ontario.
Pickering.
The 136-year-old farmhouse was long abandoned and hidden out of view. It seems that when contractors arrived to inspect the property for demolition,
a house that was built in
a new padlocked dungeon was found, causing much alarm. The police kept their findings very hushed, and a full-scale investigation began. The story gets even creepier. After the news broke of the discovery, and as police were still combing the property, it mysteriously burned down. This effectively destroyed the majority of evidence in the farmhouse, with police suspecting that this was the motivation behind the blaze. Sometimes what you don't know makes creepy situations even scarier. What was
usually the unknown part is usually the part you're more afraid of than anything else is the unknown. You're like, oh,
found.
What could be there?
Number 3, the koi pond. This is creepy also, but it's also kind of cool at the same time. An old abandoned shopping mall in Bangkok, Thailand has turned into one giant fish tank after being left to rot. It seems that
the whole entire whole bottom floor that's flooded turned into one giant fish tank.
The ceiling caved in and rainwater pooled several feet deep.
Can you imagine?
It's thought that the fish were introduced to the water by locals,
although look at all the koi.
They were from the original mall's water features.
That's crazy.
However they got there, they began breeding, and now the whole place is one giant fish pond. It looks pretty apocalyptic.
Wow.
Number 2, the Village of Dolls. The entire village of Nagoro in Japan is almost totally abandoned. The mountain settlement used to have a population of around 300 people, but since 2016, there have been just 30 residents still living there. While you may think this would mean that buildings are almost totally unoccupied, you'd be wrong. Abandoned buildings are now filled with life-size dolls.
How
hell
creepy.
No. Is anyone else freaked out by dolls? The
Just
dolls
a little,
are the work
yes.
of villager Tsukimi Ayano, who grew up in the village. Her family
I went to an abandoned
left,
place and I looked down the staircase and there was an old Raggedy Ann doll down there. Just creepy looking, man. I didn't even go down there. I almost didn't even go down there the first time. If you want to check the video, you can check it out, man. It's the one place where all electric was on.
In an empty school sits child dolls wearing the actual clothes of the last living pupils to have studied there. Other dolls can be seen performing tasks across the village.
They haven't been there for a while, but who would go around doing that?
Doll sits with a rod in a lake. So creepy.
That's kind of cool, but what's up with all of them?
Number 1, fairies.
Oh,
Scientific
what the
arrangements of the
hell
bodies
no.
of fairies, werewolves, and aliens were allegedly found in the basement of an old London home The story
No.
goes that in the 1960s, an old abandoned property was being cleared for
Looks like a
renovation
mini
when
castle.
a bounty load of curious and super weird specimens were found in the basement. The property was said to belong to 19th century aristocrat collector and biologist Thomas Theodore. A blog post detailing the discovery claims that contractors found several thousand small, tightly sealed boxes. When they opened them, they were shocked to find what looked like evidence of mythical creatures. A lot of people consider the collection to be fake, saying that if it were real, then museums would have snapped them up. I'm not so sure.
Somebody would have snapped it up. It would have been confirmed or something by now.
Maybe the bodies are actually models. Maybe Thomas Theodore liked
making really good doll maker or something from way back in the day with good practice in the skills or something.
That was the 10 creepiest things discovered in abandoned buildings.
You never know,
What do you think was the creepiest? Let us know in the comments.
The dolls, man.
Have you ever found anything creepy and abandoned in your neck of the woods?
Dolls are creepy.
Share your story with us down below.
But yeah, go check these guys out, man. They got some cool videos. Alright. We'll stop that. And alright, guys. That was the 10 creepiest things found in abandoned places, man. We're going to do more of these. And hopefully you come back and check out some more, man. So, hey, catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Go check these guys out, The Supreme. Go check out my other channel, The Lost Road. That has exploration videos on there. I think about 10 or 12 of them, man. We're working on some more. I got some more coming up here in the future. But in the meantime, we're going to do some reaction videos like this and stuff just to, you know, keep content coming on the channel. So, again, yeah, awesome, man. Catch you on the next one. I'm out.